Welcome to the Wealth Transfer with TC. Today we're going to be discussing Israel's attack on Iran and its nuclear facilities, and I'm going to share 3 specific prophetic words concerning around the timeline of where we are at leading into when things seem at their worst, the global reset and the global currency reset. This also deals with the grave surrender, because what is happening to Iran right now is going to lead us into the dinar revaluation. And this is the thing, folks, is are you ready? If the stock market had crashed based off of Israel hitting Iran, would you have been ready? Even if the markets even flash crashed, were you ready? Were you in position? Now, first of all, before I get into this, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing information, giving my thoughts and my opinions on that information. If you guys like these videos that I make, the support links are down below in the description and the comment section. Now, folks, what we try to do here, I try to give you guys the most accurate information when it comes to the prophetic. Most voices are completely wrong. What I'm trying to prepare everybody for is that time period actually before the dinar revaluation. I've shared with you in past videos that people who just hold dinar, a lot of those people are not going to make it financially through the next few years, and they will be coming back to YouTube hoping for the next currency to revalue because they messed up. And now they're trying to come back and try to experience some of the golden age that most of us are going to experience. This is why I try to give you the most accurate prophetic insight, because most prophetic insight is wrong. And one of the things that I discovered after doing this for so many years, the majority of prophecies are wrong. People can be influenced by false prophecies. And we see a lot of that, especially in the Christian wealth transfer movement. That's why I don't sit here and spit out a whole bunch of different prophecies, because it's not preparing you to not only put yourself in a position, if food becomes scarce, no matter where you live in the world, this is not just for Americans, this is for anywhere in the world. If things are going to be like when things seem at their worst, well, I think that's going to affect the food, the water, and many other necessities. And so that is the other way. Is how are you prepped? Right? Are you ready for a short-term loss of items in the grocery store, gasoline being expensive, energy prices and everything else soaring? Are you ready for that? And we also discussed recently about the Black Swan event. If you guys go back to my past videos, the last few videos that I've done, I talked about the Black Swan event that is coming. And people were saying it's coming, and I believe that we are on that doorstep. But we are not there yet. There's going to be a little window of time frame before the dinar revaluation, and if you know how to trade and you've been listening to these videos and you've been following, you already know that what we are preparing for is for the stock market to crash, for all markets to crash, and also flash crashes too as well. Now, I know there's a lot of people right now going out and buying dinar, and that's fine, and that allow the stores to fill back up after people have bought what they can. And I'm not ready to make that last purchase yet. Could be wrong, but I'm waiting for the beginning of the fall of the stock market to put myself into that position, because I am trying to put myself in the position of, well, Bitcoin's going to crash, the markets are going to crash. How can I take advantage of that? By shorting, also learning how to trade options. I'm still in that process. I'm still learning. I wish I had started a year or two ago on that, because the people who take advantage fully of everything that's getting ready to take place, they're going to become multimillionaires. And when you have to understand this one thing, the dinar, it is for the recovery of the world. But you know what, folks? When the time comes, there's going to be so many other investments that are going to make you way more money than the dinar. Maybe even before the dinar revalues. If you were to put $1,000 into any cryptocurrency, at the very bottom when Bitcoin crashes, let's just say like a decent or a great cryptocurrency, you're going to make way more money in crypto than you are on the dinar. Now, when the strike first happened, we saw a little bit less than 2% dip in the Dow Jones. It closed out down by 769 points. I look forward to Monday to see what happens when it comes to some of the other markets. Only down, 1%, 1.3%, 1.8 5%, 1%. So even though that this attack happened, it didn't really affect the stock market, right? And people freak out. You guys have to remember the Dow is like above 40,000. So it's not like it's crashing to 20,000. And that's one of the keys that we are looking for. Bitcoin, over the last 5 days, it was around, it dropped around 5,000 points. Bitcoin was around 108,000 when the strike took place, and it fell down to 103,000. It's in slight recovery. A lot of the altcoins were down 10, 15, 20%. Absolutely crazy. So you can see what happens when there's the real black swan event that's going to take place. There's going to be a massive sell-off. And that's where you need to be able to take advantage. So you have crude oil futures, $71.50 per barrel. So folks, there are prophecies out there that crude oil will shoot up over $150 a barrel, maybe even more than that. So how many of you are in a position to take advantage of it? See, this is the thing about the wealth transfer, right? A lot of prophets have told you the wealth transfer is coming, but they're not telling you how to get involved in it. The best chart readers, the best people who can look at the economy know how to trade everything. And that's what I look to, right? So hopefully you guys are in a position, because there might be a time where I start putting out different stocks or ETFs, or tell you to short this or short that. And are you going to be ready to do that? Especially when it comes to the crypto markets. So you can see some news articles here. Oil price could top $90 as Israel-Iran conflict escalates. Zelensky warns oil price could surge, could help Russia's war effort. Right? You know, Christopher Harris had put out some prophetic dreams about how high the price of oil is going to go during this time period. Pittsburgh gas prices jump overnight. See, this is what's about to happen, folks. You know, as inflation was starting to come down, guess what? Boom, we get hit with this, right? So make sure you're putting yourself in a position that you're taking care of your household and all of your household needs. Especially like if you're on medications, make sure that you are keeping that up, because if this escalates to where we think it's going to be, where things seem at their worst, people need to make sure that they're ahead of the game. Israel warns Tehran will burn as Iran fires drones and missiles in response to Israeli strikes. Okay, so you guys already know that Iran sent a whole bunch of missiles in to Israel. Some people were killed, a lot of injuries. Now, when it comes to some of these nuclear facilities, we don't know, like, as far as like the real extent of the damage. And there's one specific nuclear site that has not been hit yet. And this relates to the prophecies that I'm getting ready to share with you. The grave surrender. This is what it sounds like. Israel warns Tehran will burn as Iran fires drones and missiles in response to Israeli strikes. Iran is going to get hit so hard that they will have no choice but to surrender. Whether it's all from Israel or both Israel and the United States. Remember, in the prophecy, Kim Clement said that he will remove the United States out of the hand of Iran. So with Trump, that is where we are at right now. Now, when we go back and when you think about this, folks, you go back to that last video I did about the Russian betrayal. Right? That is part of the overall timeline. Okay, so that had to happen first. Russia is betraying Iran, and so China is withdrawing from some of the plans that they had. Right? The enemy is right now, it's being divided and confused. If you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it. It should be the last video. Now, before we get into the prophecies, you have to know that whatever prophecies are given, if there's no details, like the attack on the Iran nuclear facilities, it's been in the news since I can remember, right? So you can go back to 2012. Israel would face challenge in bombing Iran nuclear sites. In 2015, this article came out. Israel called off the 2012 strike on Iran. This is 2012. Big radiation risk, unlikely if Israel strikes Iran. Netanyahu wanted to strike Iran in 2010 and 2011. That was an article that came out in 2015. So 2012, what would happen if Israel bombed Iran's nuclear plants? So when it comes to prophecy, folks, this is what I pay attention. This is what I do. And anytime that somebody gives a prophecy, I see if it's in the news. And if they don't say anything different, then basically all you're doing is just regurgitating what was already in the news. Right now, it's a difference if there's a warning, it's already in the news, but this is what God has shared with me. That's one thing if you do it that way. But for the most part, unless somebody has something different that adds to what was already in the news, then it doesn't even matter. So somebody just getting up and saying, I told you Israel was going to strike Iran. God told me that. No, it's been in the news. It's been happening. Right? And most people aren't going to get it. People are going to fall for it. Oh, you're such a prophet. These things need to be cleared up as far as the attack on the nuclear facilities. It's not prophecy. It was already in the news. But what I'm getting ready to share with you is something different that adds to that. Okay, so a long time ago, foot forward, his name is Matthew. He was part of the Dinar community for the longest time. He doesn't share very much anymore. But he did have this one specific prophecy dealing with the Iranian nuke site. Now, Johnny, Eyes Open Media, posted this April 6th of 2024, so over a year ago. So this is a flashback. But I could not find the original video on Foot Forward's YouTube channel unless it was on a different one. I thought he had another one somewhere. But if you go back to 2018, he was already talking about the Iran nuclear sites being hit in this other video. So I'm not sure when the original prophecy came. Obviously, it was a very, very long time ago. But this particular prophecy is different from others. And you're going to see why. And I'm going to share 3 specific prophecies in a row and maybe just comment a tiny bit in the middle of each one.
You won't know this, but about 18 months ago, I had a word that I shared publicly about Israel hitting Iran. But it was about a very specific site. And I had said, this was 18 months ago, that Israel was going to hit this site and that was going to be a sign, because this was going to happen before wealth transfer stuff started to happen. So this is a sign that I've been watching for, and I haven't seen anyone else prophesy about this until today. The site that I had mentioned was the Baxter nuclear plant in Iran. So if you are familiar with that word, or, well, for any of you who have been interested in my videos.
So God gave to him this specific prophecy dealing with Iran's nuclear facility, Baxter. So that's very important. This is the detail that he gave. And it's very important because Baxter nuclear facility has not been hit yet. So that's where some of the confusion is about this prophecy dealing with Iran sites being hit. So keep in mind that this prophecy is probably 7+ years old. So now I want to play a video from Rachel Baxter. I'd never seen this video before until I was doing research for this, and I wanted to see if anybody else had any other prophecies dealing with the Baxter nuclear facility, and God brought it to me. So this prophecy came out, posted on YouTube on December the 9th of 2020. I'm going to play about 3 minutes, but I do encourage you to listen to the full video. That link will be down below in the description and in the comment section.
In this closed vision, so in a closed vision, my eyes were closed and this whole scene played out in front of me with my eyes closed, but it wasn't from my own imagination. I wasn't like, I want to think about this. It was like this thing dropped into my mind and my heart. Okay. I saw Jesus usher me through a white threshold into a great expanse. First, I looked to the left and I saw a scene taking place behind a wall where smoke was rising. There had been a major explosion. So massive, it reminded me of a mushroom cloud. So there's that explosion. I heard, Holy Spirit spoke to me. He spoke these words: death, destruction, embitterment, chaos, disorder. Death, destruction, embitterment, chaos, disorder. And then he spoke a word, a word that I didn't know what it was, never heard it before. I heard Kayed. Kayed. Okay, I heard it. I didn't see it. So I didn't know how it was spelled. And so after this experience ended, I looked this up, okay? So here's what I learned about Kayed. These are kind of various definitions. When a smoking pipe's contents have been reduced to complete ash, it is said to be Kayed. When a smoking pipe's contents have been reduced to complete ash, it's said to be kayed. So here there's something relating to fire, because you need fire to have smoke, and ash. Okay. And then in the Arabic language, the word kayed means commander or leader. Okay. So at the same time that I had this experience, the Lord put Damascus into my heart, into my mind. So these are just pieces of a puzzle, okay? And the Lord does this because we see in part. I'm not God. I have to rely fully on the Lord and Holy Spirit and Jesus working in my life to understand anything. He is the source of all wisdom. I bring nothing to the table. So Damascus, if you don't know, is the capital city of Syria. I think I knew that at this point. And then I heard Iran. So these are the things I heard: death, destruction, embitterment, chaos, disorder, kayed, Damascus, Iran. Okay. So then in that, it was like the Lord dropped an understanding in my heart related to, I felt led to understand that there will be the shaking or explosion that I saw behind the wall would impact the Bushehr nuclear power plant. Okay. I didn't know anything about Bushehr, a nuclear power plant in Iran, where it was at the time. The Lord dropped this understanding in my heart, okay? So I just want to say that again. I don't know that means that the explosion has to be at Bushehr, that's where it is, but this explosion impacts Bushehr nuclear power plant. So whether that's the source of it or somehow the nuclear power plant in Bushehr is related to the explosion that I saw. So I found out later that there is a nuclear power plant in Bushehr. It's in southwest Iran. And it was built in 2013, and it produces power for Iran. And it also, the spent nuclear material is what's used in the production of enriching uranium. Okay, there, interestingly, as I searched out kayed in Iran, I found that there were 5 Iranian cities named Kayed, Q-A-E-D. One of them is located in the Bushehr province in southwestern Iran, very close to Bushehr and to the nuclear power plant. Okay, so that was the end of the understanding that I got, okay, with that. So I could speculate, but I'm not going to speculate. After I looked left, so keep in mind, this is all a part of a closed vision I'm having. So I looked left, I saw the explosion, I heard all those things. Okay. After that, then the Lord spoke to me and said, Psalm 53. So I looked it up. When this was all over, I looked up 53.
So her prophetic word is the same exact what Foot Forward got many years ago about the Bushehr nuclear power plant. So she said kayed. So you see this article where Israel says that Tehran will burn, right? Now, the grave surrender is both Syria and Iran. Iran is the main one, so I don't know how Syria is going to play a role into this, or if it's just going to be forces that are against Israel that are not necessarily backed by the government, the new government of Syria, right? But she said kayed, right? Complete ash, and also stands for leaders, which, remember, Israel is taking out some of the top military leaders of Iran. Now, Foot Forward said that when this nuclear power plant is hit, it is a sign of the Wealth Trasnfer. Now, I believe in the original prophecy, because I couldn't find the original one, but I believe he said that it would be days away. And so we are looking for Bushehr nuclear facility to be hit, right? Then we would see a wealth transfer happen sometime later. Now, we're going to go over the next prophecy. So thank you, Rachel, for sharing that. Before I get into the next video, I do want to share this article. Why the IDF won't strike Iran's live reactor at Bushehr. A strike on a live reactor could unleash radioactive leakage capable of endangering civilian populations hundreds of kilometers away, depending on the severity of the breach. I'm not going to read the entire article, but that's why Bushehr has not been hit yet, as far as to my knowledge, as I'm making this video, right? Because if they do hit it, it could be devastating. Right now, I'm going to play a prophecy back from 2021 of March, and this deals with Israel preemptively striking Iran and what's going to come out of this. And that's going to lead to the fall of the stock market. Right? This comes from Z3 News that is posted. The links are down below in the description. If you want to look at the entire prophecy in full, I'm only showing you the important part that deals with the attack on Iran.
Posted on Z3 News website on March 29, 2021 by Jazzy. In 2003, I received a series of 7 prophetic dreams warning about a future collapse of the global financial systems. This is one part of the 3 dreams I had. The title is Remember This. When you see this happen, you will know it has begun. In the 3rd dream, Israel believed their existence was in danger. They did a preemptive strike. It seemed like they hit 2 or 3 areas hoping to eliminate their enemy's ability to destroy them, but one of the targets was far more dangerous than they knew. It was something like an underground bunker, or factory, or lab. When it was hit, it blew up and released something into the air. I was not shown what it was exactly, but I knew it was something dangerous like a gas, bioweapon, or fallout from some lab. It escaped into the air, and then drifted downstream towards a couple of small villages, and I saw some people living there were killed by it. Then the whole world erupted in outrage over what had happened and blamed Israel, instead of the nation who built the illegal lab. Israel was shocked and had no idea what was underground. The world leaders blamed Israel. I saw them shouting and accusing Israel. I saw their hatred, and it was all directed at Israel. Then something terrible happened. The whole world was in a time of great global economic corruption and instability, and this one event caused a couple nations' financial markets to wobble, then collapsed. This caused more nations' markets to become unstable and start to collapse. Then it was like dominoes. One by one, all the world's markets started collapsing. All stock markets, banking systems, credit card companies, every financial instrument collapsed. It could not be slowed or stopped. In less than 2 weeks it was wiped out. I saw world leaders screaming at Israel, blaming them for ruining their plans of a global economic reset that would have given them unlimited power and control. Their hatred was irrational to the point of insanity, because the collapse caught them by surprise, and many of them lost everything too. Then I saw hatred and rage towards Israel, and it was coming from Washington, D.C. I was surprised by this, since the United States has always had good relations with Israel, but now the hate was like something I had never seen before. All the world leaders, bankers, and globalists were trying to blame Israel for the collapse, making them the scapegoat, but I saw most people were not falling for that because they blamed their own leaders' corruption. Then I heard the same voice as before saying to me, "Remember this. When you see this happen, you will know it has begun."
Remember this, when you see this happen, you know it has begun. So, you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like an attack on a nuclear facility. She didn't know what it was specifically. She said it was something like an underground bunker, factory, or lab. So this could be something that is at the Bashar facility, or just them hitting the Bashar facility that causes this. That is exactly what she is describing. But it was dangerous, like a gas, bioweapon, or fallout from some lab. But I believe that of what she is seeing is the attack on Bashar. When this happens, okay, there's already going to be financial instability. You're going to see different markets in individual countries collapse, and then it's going to be like dominoes that's going to affect the entire world. And this is going to happen within less than 2 weeks. Right, so I'm putting this notice out here on this because when this happens, the Dow could already be like at 30,000 or 25,000. We don't know how it's all going to play out. But if you're ahead of the game and you've put yourself in complete position, right, we're going to be ready for that. It's going to seem like when things seem at their worst. But this is leading to the global currency reset. See, this event from Israel is putting off the global elite's plan for domination. Right? So with everything collapsing, the stock market, the banking system, credit card companies, in less than 2 weeks, right? And then, boom, we're going to see the Dinar revaluation, which will be the recovery for the world. And then you're going to see other revaluations that come after the Dinar. when things seem at their worst. It's going to be the why now? So we have been given many signs around when the dinar revaluation is going to happen. And that is the main key. But is how are you going to prosper now, right? We know that Christopher Harris's dream said that when you see Bitcoin at 109 being frozen there and at 111,000, right? That was a sign. And we saw that. Now, it could go higher than that. I'm expecting it to go higher than that despite all this, but it may not. We don't know how it's going to exactly play out. So we got the sign for the crypto markets, and then now we have the beginning of Israel attacking nuclear sites in Iran. We haven't seen the big one yet on the Bashar, or maybe something else that the world doesn't know about. But guess what? Israel still gets blamed, even from the United States. But ultimately, this leads to the grave surrender. So are you guys ready for all of this? Are you in position? Are you ready to short the markets when they begin to tumble? Are you placing any options orders in? Are you placing any puts or calls? Do you even know what stocks you're going to invest in when the Dow is below 20,000? Which stocks are you going to invest in? Right? The Dow 30? That's why I think God made it simple. That means it's easy. You could just go look up what are the 30 companies in the Dow, which ones do you want to invest in? Now remember, there's other prophetic words. Remember this one? The prophetic dream where everything crashed to zero? That sounds like the last prophetic word that we just got, where everything crashed. I don't think Bitcoin is going to crash to zero like right away. I think it's going to stagger down, but probably a lot quicker. So it's going to give God's people time to continue to put themselves into position. And the thing about it is, even with the stock market, folks, you can't place low buy limit orders for stocks. Well, for stocks that are really high priced, that are in the Dow. Not necessarily stocks that are $1 or $5. It depends on your platform. So it's all about, according to what we have here, it's going to be about the Bashar nuclear facility. But we all need to be in position before this even happens, folks. You need to be able to say, okay, I'm investing in this, I'm investing in that, I'm shorting this, I'm placing some call or put options on this. When things are at the very bottom, right, when the stock market has crashed out and bottomed out, what stocks are you going to invest in, or what stock options are you going to buy, right? Because you know the markets are going back up. And this is all before the dinar revaluation. So it just remains to be seen. I'm expecting even Bitcoin, everything to drop, because it's when things seem at their worst. Now, don't you think, like just this one prophetic dream, everything crashed to zero, everything was red. Don't you think that this is when things seem at their worst? So there will come a time when I will make my final purchase of the dinar. But right now, with the Dow being at 42,000, that is not that time yet. I believe that I can make money in other areas. I already have enough dinar as it is now. But I will be preparing myself for fiat at a certain point. So you just have to keep watch with this channel. Yep, and I do see a lot of people buying dinar. People are trying to figure out where to buy it from. New people that have never heard some of these prophecies before, they're all trying to buy dinar. But it's not just about the dinar, folks. There's so many different ways to make money and, to be a good steward over what God has given you, and you know what's coming. You should prepare for that. Don't be like the guy who buries his talent. And then when Jesus comes and says, hey, what's going on? What'd you do with the money that I gave you? You didn't take advantage of any of these things. So are you ready, folks? So just keep watching this channel. A lot of the videos that I'm going to be posting over the next few weeks are going to be in preparation before the dinar revaluation. If you guys are still chasing different dreams that different channels are putting out, you guys are going to end up losing out because you're not in position. So this is all that I have for this. I thank you guys for listening. God bless.